Struggling to get your business online? At Domains2U, we make it easy with fast domain registration, powerful web hosting, and top-tier security solutions. Protect your data and customers with premium security features like domain privacy and SSL encryption. Find the perfect domain name and get online in minutes. Get started today at domains2u.com.au.
Well, a very good evening to you, race fans. Welcome back once again to Simple Racing Broadcast. If this is your first time with us, great to have you along at what is a very exciting time in this MC Motorsport Domains2U MCV8 series, of course, proudly presented by Domains2U.com.au. This is round 8, and tonight we head to Sonoma Raceway. It's set in the heart of California's famous wine country, but the only wine you're going to hear tonight is from the gearboxes of these Gen 3 supercars as they get around this very twisty and very technical, highly up and down sort of track. There's a lot of elevation change here at Sonoma, and sure to test the drivers here tonight as they make their way through this sprint round this evening. My name is Jared Cole. In the booth with me once again this evening is Isaac Fogarty. And Isaac, great to have you back for another week. Sonoma is going to be an interesting one. It doesn't come up very often.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, Jared. Good evening, everybody out there watching. I am very much looking forward to this one. It's one of my favourite Cup Series circuits, and it is a really challenging circuit, as you said. Technically 12 corners, but I count it as 15 because you've got 8 and 8A and then 9 and 9A, and they add in a bunch of different A's and B's and stuff. So I count it as 15, but it's really on paper it's 12, and all of them are super challenging. The elevation change around here is going to challenge a lot of drivers this evening, especially under brakes. There's one thing these cars don't like. It's any major change in elevation or direction while trying to brake. So it will be interesting to see what drivers do as we get further into the race this evening. As you said, 3 sprint races. It's going to be really tight battles at the top of the order, and I suspect the reverse grid is going to throw a few curveballs in there, as it always does.
Yeah, no doubt. 20 laps for each of the 3 races here tonight, so it will be fast and frantic, and we'll see drivers absolutely looking to make the most of any position gain they can from the word go. And I suspect that what we'll probably see tonight is more than a couple of safety cars. That's my prediction here this evening. Sonoma is one of those circuits where a good part of it has a fair bit of runoff, but certainly one of the most lucrative and most tempting overtaking zones is that hairpin that you can see on screen right now. Just as you get down to it, you've got walls in close either side, but I reckon we're going to see a lot of people try and make a move through there, and I suspect we're going to end up with, who knows, maybe even one blocked track here this evening. We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. The weather, though, won't play any part tonight. It's pretty nice, honestly. It's nice and cool. The track temp not looking too bad either, so that allows the drivers to throw these cars around a bit more, but as always, the open setup, so a little bit of a fuel restriction. Sprint round should see us going absolutely hell for leather from the green flag onwards for each of the 3 races. And we'll see if the safety car does come into play or not. Before we go down and check out the qualifying action, we'll take a look at the championship standings coming into tonight. And James Chastanoff, geez, he's looking almost unstoppable at this point of the season. With 3 rounds to go, a 50-odd point advantage over Matt Bowler in second is going to be pretty hard to overcome, barring any major issues with any of his remaining rounds. Bowler and Bell will fight it out for the second and third step on the podium, and behind them, Jamie Dyke and Thomas Hinz, only 1 point separating them, but probably a little too far back to get into the podium battle at this stage. They've got to keep an eye on Will Buchanan behind them, and even Brett Loxton is just about within striking distance. Then we've got a few battles going on elsewhere throughout the pack. Ryan Palmer, Ben Morris and Paul Young all locked in at the bottom end of that top 10. The one that I've been watching here, Isaac, Simon Caplet had such a dominant lead in the AM Cup comp, and that's evaporated a little bit. He's still 54 points ahead of Dean Power, but I think this is the first time we've seen them both on the front page of the championship standings.
Yeah, it's really closing in between those two, isn't it? And as you said, yeah, I think this is probably close to the first time we've seen them at least both of them on the front page of these championship standings. So not a lot of points, about 54 points between the two of them to be exact. And with 3 rounds to go, including tonight, that means that the door is wide open for who's going to take out that AM Cup championship. So keep a very close eye on those two, especially tonight, because those reverse top 10s, if one of those guys is 10th and the other is 11th in any one of those races, that's the driver that's in 10th will get to start on pole for the next race. So it gives them a buffer in terms of the points they could get compared to their counterparts. So that is going to be key tonight, I think, as well, is trying to finish at the back end of the top 10 to get some breathing room between your championship rival.
Yeah, it'll be one to keep a close eye on this evening, and of course the battle at the front end. Look, Chastanoff is here tonight, so I don't expect that, barring him not seeing the flag in any of the races tonight, he should pick up a decent number of points. As always, when you get to the back end of the season, the numbers on track do tend to drop away a little bit. We started off with 35 drivers on track, I think, back in round 1, something like that. We're down to 20 plus change here tonight in round 8. So a lot of drivers, look, maybe it's just that not a lot of people have Sonoma. I don't think it's a track that actually sees all that much action. We can talk a bit more about that, though. Let's go down and check out some of the qualifying action on track right now and see how these drivers are getting on. Matt Bowler was one that we were keeping an eye on in practice, just pre-broadcast, and I was just thinking to myself, geez, it'd be good to note that he was one of only, I think, 2 drivers that managed to get into the 13th in the practice session. And by the time we are now, 8 minutes, almost 9 minutes into this 15-minute quali, we have the top 5 all under that 1:14 mark, and the rest of the field not too far behind. So it's going to be a very, very tight one tonight. These are quick laps here at Sonoma. Despite the challenges of the circuit, it is pretty fast right throughout. And yeah, there's a bit of work to be done. Jamie Dyke is currently sitting in 3rd, which is great news for him, as he tries to hold on to that 4th position over Thomas Hinz, who's sitting back in 11th at the moment. James Scott along again tonight will... Look, he'd have to be the race favourite, wouldn't he, Isaac? He's not going to feature in the championship battle, as he didn't really arrive in the series until very, very late on. So we'll be missing points from a lot of the earlier rounds, but I expect that he'll be the one to beat here tonight.
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with this evening. All these Eclipse drivers are absolutely going to be the benchmarkers they have been throughout the season. It's looking like on my timing screen that Hayden Veld is actually yet to set a lap, so we'll keep a close eye on what happens there. Here he is. So coming up on our screens now, ladies and gentlemen, and he's coming through the final sector. So this should be a time laid down for Hayden Bell as he comes towards the start-finish line. Where does he find himself into? He does actually jump up to 7th place. There we go. So he jumps up into 7th. Ben Morris has also just jumped up into 3rd spot. So gained himself a handy few positions. He runs very wide onto the grass, and that'll be not too disappointing as it is his lap. Here we go. This is Matt Bowler trying to navigate his way past, trying to work out Scott Watts, I believe.
It is, yeah.
Inside of. So navigating a bit of lap traffic, which is difficult on a qualifying lap because both cars are clearly on a fast lap. So there's not, I don't think there's necessarily a rule that Scott has to get out of the way. But Matthew Bowler will probably feel like he wants the slower cars to get out of the way.
Well, he did have a purple sector there in the second as well. So of all the times to find yourself coming up behind traffic, it's never great when you've got a green then a purple and then you run 2 yellow sectors to finish it off. But here at Sonoma, I don't see how you get away from that. It's just such a tight track, such a short track compared to a lot of what we've been running so far this season. You can see there's already bowlers caught up to another car ahead who look obviously not happy with that, so he's going to jump on out. Brett Loxton doing pretty well so far. He's sitting in P6, so last V8 season's champion is in the mix, but unfortunately will not feature at the top end of the championship ladder for the season, so he'll enjoy the last few rounds with the number 1 on the side of the car as he sends it into the wall to write that lap off. Ben Morris coming back around to see if he can improve his time as well. And look, he's not far off, is he? He's actually running some pretty decent times here. There's a couple of drivers notably not featuring at the top end of this qualifying session as we draw to within the last few minutes of what these drivers have available to them. James Shasnove currently sitting in 10th, so he's going to have at this rate a bit of work to do to try and catch up. Sam Cullen is just coming through as well. Now he's set to improve here. He's got 3 green sectors to start with. This 4th surely will be quicker and he'll have to jump up from 18th, you'd think. It's just a question of how far up he's going to go. It doesn't look like it'll be top of the table by the look of things, but does improve his best lap. Jumps up to 15th, so still a little way back through the field. Ryan Palmer out on track is also just finding this one a bit of a struggle, sitting in 16th at the moment, or maybe just trying to match his car number.
I think that's the challenge. It maybe gets extra points, but no, both 80 HD cars are struggling. Ryan Palmer and Josh Harris. You can see Josh Harris there on the screens and the little camera down the bottom. He's working way hard. I've seen the rig. It's a very nice rig that he sits in. It's very, very expensive, and he's put a lot of time and effort into it. So he'll want to put on a good performance this evening, sitting behind the wheel. But I think he's got his throttle pedal fixed as well. I'm not quite confident that he definitely has, but I know he'd ordered the part that he needed for it. So hopefully that's actually arrived and he's got that fixed. But yeah, I'm just looking. There's a couple big names as we've been talking about. Josh Harris and Ryan Palmer down the order. Ryan Palmer's now back in lane, so I doubt he'll improve from here. Sam Cullen also down the order. Dean Powell is not setting a time in this session. Simon Kapler is 18th, so that's interesting to note. They seem to also be the only 2 AM Cup drivers in the field this evening, so there's no other real drivers for them to contend with at this stage, as Josh Harris now has Hayden Veld right in behind him, and you'll be feeling the pressure of that Eclipse Sim Sports car filling the rear view mirror, and this will be the last lap for both these drivers. I don't suspect they'll get around with enough time to do another lap. Hayden Veld not improve on that occasion given the rate in which he closed to Josh Harris, who does not improve on that occasion and stays in 19th. So
and this will be an interesting one. Jamie Dyke's got about 35 seconds left to go here. Purple in Sector 1, yellow in Sector 2. James Scott's got purple in Sector 2. I don't think he's not going to have enough time to finish this. Remember, of course, folks, that for heat racing, this session will cut off right on 15 minutes. So frustrating, perhaps, for these drivers, but they're probably not going to improve their lap time here as he makes his way towards the finish. 10 seconds to go. I don't think he's going to get there. He's going to get awfully close. It'll be agonisingly close, but we will see him kicked from the session in just a moment as we get to the end of that one. And sure enough, at the final, well, look, do we call the last kinker turn? I don't know that we do. So we'll call the hairpin the final turn there. And yeah, unfortunately, not going to be enough for Jamie Dyke to improve it this time around. Let's take a look at the grid then for race number 1. 20 laps lie ahead. James Scott and Matt Bowler will lead us off from the start. Paul Young and Ben Morris on row 2. Then Jamie Dyke and Brett Loxton on row 3 ahead of William Brown and Hayden Veld. James Chastaneuf and Will Buchanan rounding out your top 10 this evening. And a reasonably close sort of qualifying session throughout most of the field. A pit lane start for car number 67, which is Scott Watts for qualifying impedance. So whether that was what we saw earlier or perhaps another incident is unsure. But in any case, Scott Watts will start from the pits rather than his qualified position. David Coleman and Thomas Hinds on row 6, and Dane Snadden and Ryan Nielsen ahead of Sam Cullen and Ryan Palmer. Liam Jensen and Simon Caplett on row 9 ahead of Josh Harris. Scott Watts will have the pit lane start. And Dean Power and Sebastian Varndell, if they take the grid, will be sitting at the back, with Ian Ward, Nathan Allen and Isaac Edwards all set to go in race control this evening. I don't know what James Chastaneuf's going to do here. I think this is going to be a real fight to get through from the back of the top 10 for race number 1. And even if he does get back up to the front somewhere, he's going to find himself straight back there again for race 2 with the reverse grid.
And that's exactly it. He's going to do all that work, get himself to the front of this field, and he's just going to go backwards and find himself all over again at the back end of that top 10 for race 2. He could do the work all over again, find himself at the back for race number 3. So it becomes a question of what do you really want to do in this situation? Do you want to fight forward in this race, or do you want to take your medicine now, get to the front of the grid for race 2, and then do your fighting forward in race number 3? That is the question. That's the strategy drivers have to think about this evening. Big ask for the ADHD drivers, Ryan Palmer and Josh Harris, to get into the 10 today. We'll wait and see what they can do. Sam Cullen and Ryan Nielsen as well. Got a little bit of work to do to get into that top 10. Thomas Hinds in 12th. A big name to miss out on qualifying inside that top 10, which I think just goes to show we've got, I feel like as we talked about, usually at the start of the season we had 30 to 35 drivers. Now we've got 20 to 21, maybe 22, but there is quite a number of high-quality drivers in this field. So this field is extremely competitive, which means that there's going to be some great racing throughout the evening, no doubt.
Yeah, it will be. And look, I think the qualifying results really tell me more than anything that Sonoma is a track that a lot of these drivers are unfamiliar with. But we'll see if that translates tonight as we get racing. We go down to the grid now as we have most of the cars ready to run. So we should be underway in just a moment. We've got the green flag waving somewhere down the back there, which says to me that we should be just about under starters orders. And sure enough, the lights come up as we get ready to go racing here at Sonoma. 20-lap sprint to start us off. Race 1 is underway. Scott and Bowler lead us off, and a big puff of smoke in the background as everyone tries to get these cars moving as we make our way up the hill for the first time. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be a very, very quick move for most of these guys to get into this racing line. There's not a lot of room here at Sonoma. It's a little bit deceptive just how tight this track really is as we see them come down the hill again for the first time, then back up a hill again, and we see immediately that is David Coleman, who's spun off to the side. Now hopefully he's managed to keep it off to the side of the track there. It looks like he hasn't come back on and taken anyone else out with him, so that's a nice little bonus. But already you're starting to get a feel for just how frenetic this track will be as we see Jamie Dyke and Brett Loxton go side by side. Scott Bowler and Young out in front. Morris a little bit of a gap to him, and then right behind them, there they go, Dyke and Loxton still side by side as they make their way through the S's here. And we're going 3 wide now. Hayden Veld wants to get in on the action as well. There's definitely not room for that. I don't know if we're going to get that sorted out. Veld makes a smart choice, backs it out. This will be interesting. The first time through this hairpin, what are we going to get here?
Is the question, what do we get? And up the inside, Veld trying to find a way through on Dyke. He's trying to capitalise. It's on the cars on the fence. That is Hinds. That is also Buchanan, it does appear. It is Buchanan. There goes MC Motorsport's car through. And wow, that is a very chaotic opening lap from multiple drivers here. And Jamie Dyke gets through that incident. Scott Watts is still dropping down as well. With Brown's down the order. It's all happening here. Unfortunately, on the opening lap, there's no front bar. Who's that car?
That was Jamie Dyke. I think he's actually come together with Simon Caplet just a little after we saw Hinds and Buchanan. I think we might have just missed Jamie Dyke getting caught up as we take a look at the battle for 8th. Dane Snadden holding it over Sam Cullen and Ryan Palmer. Sebastian Varndell already on the move. Geez, we see this from him time and time again. He's up 15 spots already. We're into lap 2 and Varndell's up 15 positions.
I think he does this for sport. Just starts at the back of the grid so he can have a bit of fun and cut his way through the field. Because I definitely don't think he's. I definitely don't think he'd be doing this if he didn't want to, because I don't think anyone really likes to start at the back and work their way forward. This is Liam Jensen looking up the inside of Ryan Palmer, the Koala Cartel car, one of the only Koala Cartel cars out there this evening. I think it might actually be the only one, which is very rare. Usually we see these guys in
They like to hunt in packs. It's weird.
They do like to hunt in packs, so it's strange to see a lone koala out there this evening. I don't know where the rest of the cartel has gotten to, but hopefully they're all tuning in, cheering him on. And he, unfortunately, is a lone koala this evening as he tries to harass the back of Ryan Palmer. We see a little bit of Koala Cartel ADHD warfare. They always tend to find themselves on track, no matter how little or many of them there are. And that trend has continued once again this evening. Sebastian Varndell up the inside of Liam Jensen. Gets a nice run across the curb and manages to secure that spot as they run down towards the S's now, the back section of this circuit, all the way downhill. And this is a really tricky section of circuit. We talked about this at the top of the broadcast. If there's one thing supercars don't like, it's turning, braking, and elevation changes up the inside. Brett Loxton gets the elbows out on Hayden Veld, pushes him wide, and I think Hayden Veld will be not too best pleased with that, but he does give a little bit of return to serve there on the hairpin. A big nudge, and I think that's just a little bit of displeasure from Hayden Veld. Not too happy with the banging doors between himself and the defending champion Brett Loxton, but Brett was keen to get those elbows out, and rightly did so. Whether there's anything in that, I'm sure race control will be all over that if there is something in it, but this has invited James Chastanoff now to join the party.
Has indeed. Let's go back and take a look at a couple of these incidents. So Thomas Hinds, the first incident we saw tonight, and keep your eye on Will Buchanan coming up the inside here, just gets the braking all sorts of wrong straight into the rear quarter. And I don't think Hinds would have had even the slightest chance to see that coming. And then while we were taking a look at that, the iRep Designs replay will show us Jamie Dyke just overcooks it a bit, comes back across in front of, I believe that was Will Brown. Ryan Nielsen gets caught up in it as well. Simon Caplet, I think, might have just clipped the front end of Jamie Dyke, and that's how he's lost the front bar. But geez, you've got to be happy for that massive infield. Everyone got plenty of room to get themselves sorted out and get back into it.
Yeah, there was plenty of room there for those drivers to sort of try and figure out where they were going. That seemed a very sort of uneasy incident. Sam Cullen up the inside of Dave Snadden gets that bit.
It's going to be that hairpin all night tonight, Isaac.
Absolutely, that is going to be the key overtaking spot all evening, I believe. It's also going to be, big contact with the wall for Sam Cullen. That was a massive hit into that outside wall on the run into one. And how wounded is that car now? Not entirely sure, but that did not look comfortable at all for Sam Cullen. That hairpin will catch a few drivers out. By the sounds of it, that wall on the outside of the start-finish line will also catch a few drivers out this evening if they are not careful. We're only 5 laps in, but James Scott running away with this 2.5 seconds back to Matt Bowler, and then half a second back to Paul Young, who's trying to stay with Matt Bowler here. And so is Ben Morris. This is a little group. This is Hayden Veld, Brett Loxton, and James Chastanoff still trying to settle the score for the 5th place. Hayden Veld, who want that spot back, and he won't be afraid to get his elbows out. Now he knows what Brett Loxton is up to behind the wheel of that car and how he wants to attack this situation, how desperate they all are for any sort of points they can get their hands on. I think Hayden Veld's going to be more inclined to also get his elbows out.
Yeah, I imagine so. And you can see Chasty's just looking, just probing for a little bit of a sign from Veld that maybe he's You know, you're just getting a little bit loose on the exits or something like that. He's just taking a bit of a look up either side every chance that he gets there. I really wish that there was a good way for me to go for a bit of a scroll back through some of the footage. Back when we saw Vandel make that big pass just at the bottom of the hill these guys are coming up to a couple of laps ago, I'm not certain, but I reckon he took enough of that inside curve that all four wheels of that car were off the ground at once. These guys are all taking a fair bit, but I think Vandel actually got air over that thing.
Look, it would not surprise me at all that there was all four wheels off the ground. We might have to go back after the race, have a look at a slow-mo replay just to try and work out. I'm sure there'll be guys checking that one as well. But look, the way he's throwing that car across the curbs, trying to move forward in this race, it would not surprise me in the slightest. Sam Cullen has now got Dave Sandon, Ryan Palmer, and Sebastian Vardell for the company right in behind him. Dane Stanton more so than anyone. 10-second time penalty for car 281.
For Will Buchanan. And look, not super surprised. There was a massive hit with Hins.
It was a massive hit. Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, not surprised to see that one, honestly.
No, and I think that's more than fair from race control. And you know, see Josh Harris trying to go past David Coleman up the inside into the final kink. David Coleman wants to come back at him into turn one though. Up the inside, can he get this done? Becomes a more sweeping left-hander for turn two before they switch back into turn three for the right-hander. And that is done now, and David Coleman holds on at this stage. That was actually a really lovely overtake from David Coleman. I say that like it's a shock. It's not a shock at all. He's done that perfectly. So beautiful. And yeah, look, holds on from Josh Harris now, who's trying to move forward, but it just seems like a struggle. Now he's got Dean Power behind him. Dean Power, crucially, got a couple of cars between himself and Simon Caplet.
Yeah, and that'll be an interesting one. You know, Caplet really at this point, all he needs to do is hold on, stay within a couple of positions of Dean Power. Make sure he gets all of the points tonight. Make sure he does cross the line and see that checkered flag in all three races tonight. And he'll walk away from this pretty happy. That early crash won't have helped, but it will do for now. As we see Ryan Palmer starts to think about a look up the inside. Snadden was thinking the same though on Cullen. So these four really locked in at the moment, and struggling to find much in the way of an opportunity to make a pass happen. What is happening though is that Sam Cullen is falling further and further away from the group ahead of Ben Morris, Brett Loxton, Hayden Veld. You can see, look at the gap behind these three. That's the group before we were just watching, just entering that series of S's there now. And these guys themselves are fighting a 6-second deficit up to Young and Morris. Out in front, James Scott, look, he's gone. No one's catching him at this point.
Yeah, no, he is absolutely walked away with this. Up the inside, we see Sebastian Vandel now. Under brakes, gets that move done on Ryan Palmer. So that's another spot loss for Ryan Palmer and hampering his efforts to attempt to continue to move forward. Sebastian Vandel, though, coming from the back of the grid, is up yet another spot into 10th place. That makes it 15 places for Sebastian Vandel, which in such a small field is no mean feat at all. Dane Shannon still all over the back of Sam Cullen. He's been searching for any sort of piece of racetrack he can to find a way past the AITX driver, and he just hasn't been able to do it yet. He's it's Sam Cullen. Some of the car placement, so he hasn't needed a lot of car placement, but on the times that Dave Snadden has been close, the car placement from Sam Cullen has been second to none. He just knows exactly where to put that car to make Dave Snadden have to think twice before going for a move.
Yeah, Cullen really using the extents of the track limits here to just try and make Snadden really work for this. Snadden's big slide over the crest there, and you can see what happens if these cars get unweighted up and over the top. And again, I reckon Cullen was airborne for just a moment there over that curve. These guys absolutely eating every single bit of that, and it's something that Gen 3 supercars are made to do. But geez, it's nice when you find a track that really showcases it. Dane Snadden gets a little bit of a wiggle on. That's going to give Vandel just a sniff of an opportunity here. Will he take advantage of it? Can he make something of that now? Snadden's got it away relatively cleanly afterwards, so I don't think he's going to get a move just yet. Further up the field, Loxton under huge pressure from Hayden Veld. He's taking up as much of the track as he can to just limit Veld's options. James Chastain still right there in behind both of these guys, so no change yet but certainly plenty of battles going on.
Yeah, lots of a lot of battles happening out there at the moment, which is providing quite a nice bit of action for everyone to be watching along at home. Plenty of people getting active in the chat at the moment as well and saying today there's a lot of support for the Koala Cartel out there, and one Koala is here supporting the team, which is great. So there is support for the Koala Cartel car of Liam Jensen in the chat, but we're watching this battle at the moment, which is still going, as you said, from Ben Morris, a fair way up the road. I don't think they're going to catch them, even with 10 laps to go in this race. It only been the halfway point of the way. These guys are driving with each other, and the battle that they're having, it's going to be difficult to catch. But they're sort of halfway between no man's land. Brett Loxon about 6 seconds behind Ben Morris, and then Sam Cullen about 6 seconds behind James Chastanoff. So this little group as well is costing time. And then Liam Jensen's about a second and a half off this group. David Coleman about a second and a half off him, and then another 6 seconds back to Ryan Harris. So everybody's starting to spread out. It doesn't look like at this stage anyone's at too major of a chance of being lapped. Jamie Dyke and Scott Watts are about a quarter of a lap ahead of the race leader. Around the outside for James Chastanoff on Hayden Veld. A little bit of an elbow out moment there. They touch as they run through one into two now, up the hill. And Hayden Veld is still there, still trying to make a point of this as James Chastanoff around the outside. They're going to continue to be side by side, continue to touch as they run through four. That's into the wall for Hayden Veld. Oh, he's going to continue the spin. He does well to catch it. But there was a little bit of a touch-up caused Hayden Veld to go wide. And unfortunately, that was contact with the wall. That could have been a lot worse. He got it cranked sideways and managed to get it back pointing straight again. So that was a massive catch from Hayden Veld, but that's going to cost him a lot of time and possibly have a bit of damage on that car as well.
It will, but I think he's still going to manage to hold on at the moment. He's still got a good 4 seconds almost over Sam Cullen at the head of this group. So he's used that time to his advantage, but that's really opened up a massive hole in most of the front six at this point. All quite a bit of separation, save for Paul Young and Ben Morris, the two Phase 4 Motorsport entries. These guys have been just driving along together in third place for a little while now, trying their best to reel in Matt Bowler. But James Scott, geez, what do you do? 5.5 seconds out. He's in a completely different league.
Yeah, he is just so quick in these cars, isn't he? And each and every week he turns up. I'm excited to see what he can do from 10th on the grid, because that's going to be a big ask. Here we go. This is a replay. What happened with Hayden Veld and James Chastanoff, and a little bit of touch-up causes Hayden Veld wide into the wall, because once from the grass, it's a bit like ice. Cranks it sideways, points straight towards the outside wall, but does want to straighten it back up again and get rolling once again. Hopefully not too much damage on the Eclipse Team Sports car, but we will keep a close eye on that. He is about 2.5 seconds off James Chastanoff. Slow down for Josh Harris, which I'm actually just impressed that he's gotten on it.
Where did he find that?
That's what I was just wondering. How has he managed to find a place to get a slowdown in the first place at this circuit? It feels like it's a little bit one line. Here we go.
Here we go. He's caught a lot of that corner. Yeah, okay, that'll give you a slowdown. Yep, that'll do it.
That's a nice little corner cut there from Josh Harris, taking the alternative line through the back end of the circuit, as we like to say. So he's
that's the
taking the
circuit,
alternate line, and that is the rallycross circuit. He's trying out these cars, maybe doing some research for future seasons if they want to give a rallycross in a supercar a go. And I think he's decided it's probably not for us. I think we'll just stick to tarmac racing.
Not a bad idea, honestly. Sebastian Vardell in the middle of this group. He's up 16 spots so far. Everyone here has moved up at least a few places. The front four remaining unchanged at this stage. So really that track position, all important. I mean, the speed, obviously, of those drivers that we do have out in front at the moment is not it's not something you can debate, but certainly the track position, getting out in front of it all on that first lap will really help them open up a pretty sizable gap, and they've just managed to run with each other for a while now, as has this group. What has been notable though is that as Sam Cullen continues to fall further and further back from Hayden Veld as Veld starts to recover, you've actually brought Liam Jensen and David Coleman onto the back of this group as well. So what was a three-way battle became a four-way battle, now up to 6 cars. Have a look in the background. Ryan Palmer's thinking about a late break around the outside. Varndell's going to try and go around the outside as well. We're too wide all the way through. Coleman tries to sneak up the inside, can't quite get there. As Cullen moves across, he got a really poor exit, so he jumps out of the way. And Snadden manages to hold off Ryan Palmer for the moment, but only through track position.
Yeah, he's the fact that he's gotten the track position is the reason. There you go. Look at this group now. This gaggle of cars, I think is the technical term I'm going to use, and Varndell's going to take the opportunity to absolutely skip away here and disappear from this group. Sideways on the slide for Sam Cullen out of the exit of 3 into 4 now. Look at them as they spread across the road. Trying to find, they're all over the road a little bit. Slide into the corner for Dave Snadden. He gets it up the inside. Maybe because he just couldn't get it quite. So someone's dropped in the background. That is David Coleman. And side by side, Snadden and Cullen now through the S's down the backside of the circuit. Ryan Palmer wants to get himself involved here. He wants a piece of the action. And Sam Cullen's going to try and skip away here as they run through 9 into 9A, now 10, and all the way down to 11 in the hairpin. And Ryan Palmer thinks about to move up the inside, but Snadden's actually more focused on Cullen in front. So I think Ryan Palmer just has to sort of be aware that he can't send a dive bomb if the car in front of him isn't looking where he is, because he's not really alongside, and Snadden's more interested in trying to get past the car in front than he is worrying about the car behind. So this is the hardest part about racing in a group. You have to be aware of everybody around you. A nicer drive off the corner for Snadden on Cullen. Is he going to get the run up through 3, and 3A is the cutback here, and then 4A is the 4 and 4A is the braking zone down the hill. And hit the wall. He's hit the wall on the outside, and that's spun the car. That is, I think that's...
Will Buchanan just avoids a massive incident. David Coleman.
Spun that up, or has he broken it?
I think he's trying to get it spun back around. David Coleman got a big nudge from Liam Jensen, who had gotten the earlier corner just a little wrong, I reckon, and unfortunately Coleman just couldn't get it under control before finding that one little bit of wall that juts out there, and it's flicked him around almost immediately. So Liam Jensen manages to get away with that. He's still got Thomas Hinz for company though, so don't worry, he's not all on his own. He's still got plenty of people around him. I suppose we should probably check in for just a moment on James Scott and see how he's doing out here in front, because he's currently sitting all on his own with a healthy almost 8-second gap at this stage. I can't see anyone competing with this. What will be interesting though for race 2, of course, is as we see, Cullen's trying desperately to get this back. Gets a little bit of nudge along behind from Palmer as Palmer comes down and around the outside, and he's going to have to be careful here. Gets back into line, but geez, these guys are pushing hard. I think what Varndell really proves is just how crucial it is to get the pass done. I mean, you can see him there just off the front of the screen as we look back at this group behind. The faster drivers are really finding it difficult if they get caught up in a group. They're finding it really difficult to get a pass done. It took Varndell a good probably 5-8 laps to get through this group of 3 drivers, and as soon as he did, he's off and away. That does not bode well for James Scott in the reverse grid.
No, absolutely not. It's it's going to be tough. I think he'll make it done as Hinz goes up the inside of Jensen. He gets that spot back, but look, I think he'll get it done. He'll have to work a little bit harder for it, but given his pace in this race, he's done a 1:13 is his fastest lap of the race, and he's faster than any other car on circuit at the moment. Absolutely flying out there right now. I do not foresee James Scott not winning at least one more race this evening, if not the last 2 races. Sam Cullen looks like he could be out of this one. A replay now. This is what happens to David Coleman. And so right in this little battle pack, up the outside, around the outside of Liam Jensen, gets a little bit of a nudge, which means he gets a little bit loose and hits the wall. And they get close enough to that as it is, but a massive hit with the wall, and then I think he's just trying to accelerate out of it. Cannot quite do so. Sam Cullen is out. Unfortunately, looks like he's had a disconnect from the server. It says he's just crossed the line though, which is interesting.
I think he is well and truly out of things now, and he will drop back down through the order as the rest of the field go through, and as iRacing finds its way to sorting out the big moment there for Liam Jensen. Bit of a brake lock up, and Will Buchanan will gain some advantage there. All of a sudden, the group that we had racing together, they've really spread out, and it's really left to just Dane Snudden and Ryan Palmer here, fighting it out for 9th and 10th. Both these guys will be on the front row at this stage with just a couple of laps left to go. They need to keep an eye on Thomas Hinds in the background, but they are well positioned to take advantage of that reverse grid for race 2. James Scott now out to 9 seconds over Matt Bowler, which is just phenomenal. Paul Young and Ben Morris in 3rd and 4th, with Matt Bowler up in 2nd. And then Brett Loxton and James Chastanov battling it out for 5th and 6th at the moment. Loxton's holding on really, really nicely. I think this maybe lends a little bit of weight. Well, big slide. Look at them both slide on the way out of that corner. They are absolutely coming to the end of the usable life of these tyres around this circuit, and absolutely pushing on as hard as they possibly can through every turn. With what, 2 laps to go now, if my count's right, it is going to be. Look, it's going to be tight here. Chasty, though, I don't think quite has the pace. We saw that in qualifying. He's not as quick as we have been seeing from him, and I reckon there's a fair chance it's a lack of experience at Sonoma in particular.
Yeah, I think, and that's the difficult thing. As you said, a lot of these guys won't have done a lot of laps here. It's not a particular popular circuit. I think it should be. I think it's a bit underrated. I think some of the racing we've seen here tonight so far has showcased that a little bit, but I do think it should be utilised more, especially in cars like this and the NAS cars. However, it is not super popular with calendars and iRacing leagues across the globe, really, and so the laps that drivers have on here are quite limited. It does make it so that you're sort of learning on the go, especially when it comes to racing side by side around here, trying to get overtakes. Hayden Veld now earns himself a slowdown, which is an interesting one. I'm not entirely sure where he's done that. But yeah, not sure where he's done that. But yeah, look, it is a bit of a learning process as we see the evening go on. I think we'll see him start to come into his own. This is what happened to Hayden Veld. Runs a little bit wide, gets 4-wheeled in the grass, and sort of cuts the corner, which that'll do it. Dukes of Hazzard style on the roads, on the dirt, I should say, back on the road, gets the slide on, and away he goes. So we're now onto the final lap. White flag has been shown to our race leader, who is some 10 seconds in front of Matthew Bowler in 2nd place. But the battle for the minor placings is yet to be resolved. This is, as it stands, the front row of the grid for race number 2 coming up, Dane Snudden and Ryan Palmer, but where they sit on that front row of the grid yet to be resolved. Who will be on the provisional pole, and it will be whoever finishes lower. Up the inside, James Chastanov goes for the move on Brett Loxton. He knows he's running out of time. He has to do something. He has to do something fast, but he's, again, also running out of time.
Yeah, and I think that might have been the last gasp. There's not much of an opportunity from here except for the final turn, as we see James Scott now comes across the line. He'll take the win, and Matt Bowler will be a good 10 seconds back. This will be the last gasp, though, for James Chastanov. Loxton goes defensive on the inside, and I think, unless Chasty can get a good drive out here, and he does, they're going to be side by side all the way to the line. Matt Bowler, Paul Young, Ben Morris come home. This is going to be very, very close as they come around the corner. Who's going to get there? Chastanov gets the nose in front, picks up that spot at the death. He moves up into 5th. Brett Loxton relegated to 6th by just 700th of a second. And then coming out of that final turn now, the group we've been watching for a good portion of this, Dane Snudden stays ahead of Ryan Palmer. Thomas Hinds is closed in, but not quite there. Oh, he gets very loose across the line, manages to cross the line in position, but geez, the mechanics are going to have some work ahead of race 2.
Yeah, that is going to be a lot of work for the mechanics, for the iRacing mechanics, and it's a heavy impact with the wall, wasn't it? A massive hit. Ron Nielsen, next car to come across the line, I believe, and then Will Brown and Jamie Dyke rounding out the finishes in this race. But unfortunately Sam Cullen does not finish. But yeah, what a finish to that race, and what a drive from James Chastanov. He worked so hard on trying to get past Brett Loxton, didn't he?
He absolutely did. We'll be straight in, of course, to race number 2 with the reverse top 10 grid. This is what it looks like. Ryan Palmer and Dane Snadden will take the head of the field ahead of Sebastian Vandel and Hayden Veld. Then Brett Loxton and James Chastanov with Ben Morris and Paul Young. Matt Bowler and James Scott will start on row number 5. Behind them, it's as they finish. So Thomas Hinz and Will Buchanan will be right there with Liam Jensen and Dean Powell. Then Harris and Nielsen ahead of Brown and Dyke. Scott Watts and Sam Cullen rounding out your top 20 with David Coleman and Simon Caplet set to start from the back of the field for race number 2. And I tell you what, a pretty wild little finish there for Thomas Hinz. It's unfortunate we don't have a chance to go back and see what happened there, but I think that really does tell us a little bit about the state of the tyres at the end of race number 1 there. We saw a lot of cars sliding all over the track, and I suspect we're going to see more of the same here as we get into race number 2. The track temps haven't changed much. It's just that 20 laps is a lot to ask of supercar tyres anywhere, much less a track like Sonoma.
Yeah, it is a long time to be on a set of supercars tyres, and again, as you said, it is a tall ask, but so far they seem to be doing pretty well. The tyres dropped off a little bit towards the end. They're in the 114s by the end of that at the front of the field, so about a second or so drop off in terms of the overall race times. We're not quite seeing qualifying times in this race, but what we see here from these guys in terms of the times in race 2 will be interesting. They know how the tyres work now. They have a bit of an understanding over race pace, so this race I think we'll see a couple drivers maybe go conservative early to look after those tyres.
Yeah, I would think so at this point. We'll look. Who knows though? Honestly, it's so hard to predict what it is that we're actually going to get from any race here. I'm just surprised that we survived that one with no issues. Honestly, we're just waiting on the last couple of drivers here. It looks like Hayden Veld and Sam Cullen have actually missed the start call, so they will be jumping in from the pits if at all. As we go green for race number 2, Ryan Palmer lights up the rear tyres and gets underway as we go racing once again here at Sonoma, and that's got to be, I reckon, the worst start I've ever seen from Ryan Palmer in a V8 supercar.
He's known for his good starts, and I feel like we didn't call it out tonight, but usually we call it out and he makes us a liar, so he's made us a liar without us having even to say anything. He's just sort of we've got cars off in the background as well, so turn 3 once again.
Morris is off, Scott's off.
Morris is off. Yeah, so once again turn 3 proving to be the crux in these race starts. And yeah, Ryan Palmer, not a great start for him as well. James Scott's down to 19th place off the start, so not a great start for him. He gets past Scott Watts now, but he is down to 18th, and Ben Morris also going past Scott Watts. So Scott Watts maybe just giving up position there. Cars side by side as they run down the back straight, so everyone's fighting and jostling for position. Everyone's trying to find their own piece of real estate on this track as we get started here into the hairpins. Is anyone going to go for a dive bomb? Paul Young thinks about a move on Ryan Palmer, but nothing doing on that occasion. Up the inside, that's I believe that is Thomas Hinz. It is up the inside of Will Buchanan. They're going to continue to be side by side down the front straight. It's not really a straight though, is it? It's sort of a front kink, and Will Buchanan will hold on for now over Thomas Hinz. Thomas Hinz, though, thinks about a move into 2. Is he deep enough on the brakes? No, that's probably a good thing because Will Buchanan was always going to turn into that corner like he wasn't there. Nielsen Harris battling away for 12th place as well. So a few cars at start here, side by side. The Veld situation plot thickens. He is out of this race. So indeed in the chat, the plot does thicken because Hayden Veld is not joining this race. Into the wall for, is that Thomas Hinz?
It is Thomas Hinz.
And everyone's trying to scramble to get around the wounded car, the Jinx Shifters HJR car. And that was a huge hit. Was he helped into the wall? I didn't quite see if he was or whether that was all on his own.
Yeah, not entirely sure. I didn't catch it either, but you can see Josh Harris serving that slowdown is going to lose a bunch of positions here as the big group that we've got at the back of this pack starts to make its way through. Thomas Hinz at the head of it for the moment. He goes very, very defensive. Jamie Dyke almost follows him. And then around the outside comes Will Brown, and right in behind them, there's James Scott right in the thick of it. though he was going to have to fight it back from P10. He's now found himself all the way down in P15. We'll go back and we'll take a look at just what happened for James Scott there. Was it just avoiding that early incident? Got a little bit sideways up the hill, so I wonder if there's been maybe a little bit of a nudge along the way, but Scott's found himself well off the pace, well off the track, and as a result, he's going to have to really fight from a long way further back in the field than where he started.
Yeah, he certainly is. That's a very interesting one for James Scott, but he's leaving himself a bit of work to do now. But maybe it's just to provide himself a little bit of an extra challenge up the inside of Jamie Dyke. He goes now into 7, gets that move sorted, done and dusted. Easy as you like, up the inside, textbook overtake. Moves up to the 13th place, can set after the next car up the road, which is Thomas Hinds, who's walking a little bit wounded at the moment. This is Liam Jensen putting Ryan Palmer under pressure, and once again, the only Koala Cartel car on the circuit finds its way to the back of an 80 HD car, like it is.
Look at Buchanan
like tradition on the inside, very deep once again from Buchanan. We saw him do that in race 1, and that has to be the break surely, because that's the second time he's done that in as many races. Didn't end quite as disastrous on this occasion, but he's just very deep under brakes, carrying too much speed, and then locks the inside front, and as a result makes contact with Liam Jensen, and now is under pressure from Paul Young, trying to find his way past.
It's such a tempting corner though, isn't it? For all of the other turns on this circuit, it's really only that hairpin that represents a traditional passing opportunity for a Gen 3 supercar, and so it's not surprising to the Buchanan really throwing his car in there. But yeah, just not getting the traction he needs for the braking that he's looking for, and it's cost him a bit once again. I think, look, maybe a bit lucky that he didn't take Liam Jensen out the same way we saw in race number 1, but I'm not going to be at all surprised if we see a race control message at some point with maybe a 5-second penalty for that one, as Dane Snadden gets jumped by Brett Loxton in an almost identical move. The only difference, of course, that Loxton kept total control there, goes through and up into 3rd, so Snadden will now try to fight off Matt Bowler, who's coming very, very quickly up behind him.
Oh yeah, and wide there from Dean Powell. Was that an incident maybe in the back end that we've just caught? Dean Powell looks like Ben Morris is going pretty slowly off the exit of that corner as well, so that's interesting. Josh Harris now right on the back of these guys, and I'm surprised to not see Sam Cullen back in this race. Thought he might have been able to rejoin after the disconnect, but maybe there's a rule that they're not able to. Not entirely sure. This is Liam Jensen still under pressure from Will Buchanan and Paul Young. Ryan Palmer trying to skip away into the distance and run away with this 6th spot if he can. Sebastian Vardell leading this race. He has come from the back of the grid in race 1 to the front of the field in race number 2. James Chastanow not too far behind him. Then Brett Loxton and Matt Bowler, and James Snadden as well, also into 5th place. This is handy points for James Chastanow. He's ahead of Matt Bowler, and Hayden Veld won't be scoring points in this race, given that he is currently out. So this is key championship points for James Chastanow, exactly what he needs.
As David Coleman stays well out of the way there, Jamie Dyke and Will Brown come through. Coleman's caught back up, and he's going to just latch onto the back of his Fishy Motorsports teammate there, try and keep Will Brown at bay, but Brown shuts the door, just gets across in front of him and says, no, this will be my place in this pace line, thank you very much. Fastest lap there again for James Scott, so that's a couple laps in a row now, and I expect we'll see more fast lap times popping up from him as he gets a bit of clean air and a bit less weight in the car as the fuel starts to burn off here. Lap 6 of 20 for race number 2, and already been a little eventful, not without its little bit of controversy at the start, but for now everyone just kind of getting themselves settled in. Jensen still not able to close the gap to Palmer. He's busy holding off Buchanan and Young at this point, but I don't think it'll be too long before Ryan Palmer has a couple of these cars knocking on the door, or the rear bumper as it were, to try and make their way through. James Scott now getting close enough to register as part of this battle as well, so he'll be up in amongst this in no time.
Yeah, he is pushing as hard as he can to try and join into this battle. We're going to get a nice train of cars all the way from Ryan Palmer probably very soon. If Thomas Hinds isn't anything to say about it. Back to Thomas Hinds up the inside now. Will Buchanan tries to get the drive of the corner. Paul Young wanted to follow him, make it 3 wide on the exit, and that was never going to work, and it's cost all of them time. It's going to leave Paul Young vulnerable here to James Scott, actually, who is really lurking at the back end of this top 10. I think he probably wouldn't mind too much staying here. Gets him on pole, he gets him out of trouble for the third race of the evening coming up in just a little while. But he is desperate to get any sort of points he can, I'm sure, this evening. Wants to maximise his points haul, even though he's not really in a championship fight. All points are good points. And Paul Young is the next car that is in the firing line for a man that has time and time again proven why he is one of the fastest in these cars going around on iRacing at the moment. And he is, I think he has the fastest lap of the race as well. I'm just looking at my timings. He does have the fastest lap of the race of 13.9. The only car to jump into the 13 so far in their lap times. Everyone else is at 14. The fastest lap besides that, 14.2 from Sebastian Vandel, who currently leads this race.
It's been really interesting, hasn't it? Just how much the battles have slowed everyone down here at race pace. As James Scott starts to get a move on, he's up the inside now, Paul Young, so he'll take that one. That'll be putting Will Buchanan on notice. I'd expect the same kind of move at the end of next lap if he's not already in position to get it done before then. But James Scott wasting no time at all. And he really can't afford to either. It's almost at the halfway point of this race, so he's going to want to get moving. He's got a lot of distance to make up if he wants to get onto the podium here. He certainly won't be hanging around to try and get the reverse grid for race 2. He wants to get back up in front and maximise the points here. You can see just how light these cars get over that crest. It's really, I don't think there's many tracks that make it quite as obvious as this. You can go to, say, Spa, for instance, and get the opposite, where you see just how much they bottom out going through Eau Rouge. But something like Sonoma, it's one of the few tracks that really have a nice little crest to show off just how much these cars float when you drop the track out from underneath them.
Yeah, these cars, I think they are challenging around here. The undulation, the elevation change, and the fact that you're braking in corners. But these tracks like this, up the inside goes James Scott, trying to get the move done on Will Buchanan. Does so quite comfortably, and up another spot. But these cars really do suit a track like this once you put them on it. Like on paper, you'd think this would be a fairly challenging track, and I'm sure it is. They're an absolute handful in the cockpit, I have no doubt. But they look so good across the curbs, down the hill, up the hill, just on board. Here we go. Let's have a look a little bit of the wheel work that James Scott is doing across the curb. Oh yeah, you can see that. And look at the little. I'm really curious to see as he runs down the hill, just the little minor adjustments he's going to do. Look at the little steer back as the car tries to kick out up the inside. He goes on Liam Jensen, so that's another spot for James Scott. Ryan Palmer will be the next one in his sights. And I think James Scott's an interesting example to pick. He's always so smooth on his wheel inputs, isn't he? And the way that he gets the car across the curb, it doesn't seem to unsettle the car too much. It just looks like it's on rails no matter what he does to it.
Yeah, and that's the key to being fast in these cars, or at least that's what I'm told by a lot of far more experienced drivers, is being just so buttery smooth with every single input. It's not just the wheel, it's the throttle, it's the brake. You really have to be so progressive in how you apply all of your control inputs to stop these things from basically getting upset and just kicking you off the track somewhere. Here we go, Ryan Palmer and Scott side by side over the start-finish line. Palmer's going to get his nose back in front, but up they come and through the hill, and James Scott will be on the inside here. And he'll move on up into 6th. So now that he's got some clean air ahead of him, watch the gap to Snadden just evaporate. It's 3.3 now at lap 10. Let's see just how many laps it takes for him to actually reel that gap in.
Yeah, let's keep a close eye on this. How quickly can he get 3.2 seconds to Dane Snadden up the road? And can this group follow him? I know Ryan Palmer wants to try to, but with James Scott, I think he's just he's got his car figured out, hasn't he? He's so quick. Everywhere we go, but especially tonight as well, won by 10 seconds in race number 1. James Chastain is starting to launch a little bit of a challenge at Sebastian Vandel. He's closed 2 within a second now. So he's starting to put the pressure on a little bit, maybe a little bit of tyre management in the early phase of this race, looking after those tyres we spoke about earlier. that this track is pretty hard on tyres across 20 laps, so maybe doing his best to make sure that he has something here at the end to fight with.
Yeah, possibly. He's done a pretty good job of just bringing Varndell back into touch with the following cars, but all four of these guys out in front have a really, really healthy gap. So we're going to see a nice little battle for the podium here, I suspect. Chastanov's got it down to 6/10. Loxton's not too far behind, and he's bringing Bowler with him. I wonder if Varndell's gone just too hard too soon, and his tyres have gotten a little overheated here, because he's really struggling to keep that distance to Shasti at the moment.
Yeah, he's, I think Varndell's gone really, really hard out of the gate, and looking at his lap times here, he's just starting to fall away a little bit into the 15s now for Sebastian Varndell. James Chastaneau very similar. Brett Loxton's still in the 14s on the previous lap, so fastest car on track at the moment, surprise, surprise, James Scott with a 14.7 on the last lap. He's absolutely pushing the wheels off that thing. He's now 1.2 seconds away from Dane Snabben. So he is chasing down the man in 5th place. But yeah, it's I think it's starting to get to a point now for Sebastian Varndell. He has pushed that car hard, and you can see he's trying to respond here, 14.9 to 14.8, because he knows Chastaneau is coming. But Chastaneau, I think, just has a little bit more life in those tyres.
Just past the halfway point. We know that these tyres are well past their best. They're probably getting to about that. A lot of drivers describe it as almost a second wind for these tyres. They fall off really, really quickly when they're fresh. You get 2 or 3 good laps out of them, that's about it. And then you'll get this almost return of a bit of grip at around about this point in their tyre life. But given how hard these guys are having to press on, as we see Paul Young take a big look up the inside of Will Buchanan, I think he's going to get that done. Buchanan's back on the inside though, and can really force him wide, so they're going to be side by side, possibly all the way down to the hairpin here, at which point Young's going to have the advantage. Ryan Nielsen looking to follow through as well. Buchanan had to run a little bit wide there. He's got a little bit more pace at the moment, but Nielsen's really nicely positioned. Buchanan's going to want to come across and close the door before they get to the hairpin. I don't think he's going to quite get there in time. That last turn before the hairpin, a really, really tough one for a Gen 3 supercar. Huge amount of lateral load on those tyres as they come through at full noise. And Nielsen gets it done fairly comfortably, really, on the way through. You can see Buchanan just starting to struggle a little bit with the grip on those left-hand side tyres.
Yeah, Buchanan is, I think that's going to be the story of the evening for a lot of these drivers. Start to sort of, lose grip on the loaded side tyre. This is obviously this is an anti-clockwise track, so the tyres on the outside are probably going to feel a little bit more worn, considering when you turn, even if you do it in your normal road car, you'll feel a bit of lean in the vehicle. The car will lean across. This is Liam Jensen and Ryan Palmer battling away. Every time I try and do a little bit of a technical explanation, someone tries to interrupt that, and up the inside, Liam Jensen gets that spot on Ryan Palmer. You can see here the body language of these cars, and he does it in your road car as well. When you turn, you rotate through a corner, the car will lean a certain way, and the way that is the lower point of the car, so you can see here the outside of the car is lower than the inner side of the car in terms of the corner. That is the loaded side tyre. There is more weight going through those outside tyres, the left side tyres, than there is the tyres on the right hand side, because the car is feeling the effect of gravity and G-forces, and it's trying to pull it to that outside tyre and pull it away from the corner. So that is why when we speak about loaded side tyres, that's what we mean. So in an anti-clockwise circuit like this, you're going to find more often than not your left-hand side tyres are working harder than the right-hand side tyres, because you'll be turning left a lot more than you'll be turning right.
And probably one of the uniquely difficult things about Sonoma when it comes to that is that there are so many high-speed right-hand turns that really put that left under stress. But there's also not very many points throughout the track where you get to actually take the load off those tyres and give them a break. There's so many fast S's here that the bit of time that those tyres have to drop any temp out, you're immediately straight back into the load. It really doesn't give you much time at all to ease the pressure on the left side tyres. About the best that they get is coming off that start-finish line. It's a long left-hander, and so you load the right tyres up as you go up the hill there. But, geez, I tell you what, there's no rest at all for your left side tyres, and it's no surprise to see these drivers start to really slide out of the corners as we get into the last half, the last quarter of this race. The car just starts to squirm around. The tyres really just protesting being asked to do anything at all at this point.
Yeah, it's look, we're getting to the point of the race now. But they've done a lot. They've pushed these cars hard, and yeah, the tyre's going to start to protest, which is going to make it more difficult. This is Brett Lawson with that Bowler company. So these guys are not too actually far. You can see there just in front of them is the battle for the lead group. But Matt Bowler, I think he knows that James Scott is coming, despite being 5 seconds behind. We could see him start closing. Looking on the previous lap, he did a 14.6 compared to these guys are in the higher 14s, low 15s. So they are struggling for lap time. And I don't know if James Scott's quite going to get there, but he's certainly going to give it his best shot. And this is Jamie Dyke all over the back of Thomas Hinds. So we're still battling on for the minor placings here. And currently as it stands, Paul Young, Ryan Nielsen sitting in the box seat to start on the front row for race 3 coming up in just a little while. Paul Young defensive into that corner. I don't think he's close enough to go from rear on Ryan Palmer, so just a bit of defensive driving from Ryan Nielsen behind. And just looking as we come across the line at 14.3 on that lap for James Scott, which just goes to show what he can do in clean air. He is absolutely flying out there at the moment. He has got his foot to the floor.
Might be a little too late though. 5 seconds is, it's a decent amount to try and make up when you've got drivers that are going only what, 5 or 6 tenths slower, and he's only got 4 laps to do it. I don't think he's going to get any further up through the field than 5th place, but he's certainly going to give it a good shot. And it'll be interesting to see just how close he gets by the time we get to the checkered flag here in race 2. The battle out in front, though, no one really quite managing to pull away into the distance. You'd have to think that Vardell at this point is maybe just managing his tyres a little bit and just trying to maintain that gap to Chastanov, because that gap has really stabilised now at about 8 tenths. So he's opened up a little bit more distance, but has maintained that pretty well. Thomas Hinds and Jamie Dyke locked right in to the front and rear, respectively, of their vehicles, although Dyke losing a bit of pace out of that turn. I don't think he's going to have a big look up the inside. At least he wants to have Hinds thinking about it. Look at the oversteer under braking from Hinds. He had to actually turn out of the corner there for just a moment to try and keep it straight. These tyres have absolutely had it for this race, and they're not behaving anywhere near as well as any of these drivers would like to see here tonight. I think most impressively out of all of this, though, is that we haven't seen a safety car yet. I'm honestly surprised by that.
Yeah, we've actually done well not to see a safety car this evening, I think. Just noting that Simon Caplet is out of this race. Unfortunately, he said that he's battling the man flu, and it's finally really sort of started to hit him. I think he did well to get through race 1, so we obviously wish Simon Caplet to get well soon. We love seeing him out on the track, and hopefully we will see him very soon. We're also trying to get to the bottom of what exactly has happened to Hayden Veld, and he's saying it never gave him the option to grid up for race 2. So the reason we don't see Hayden Veld out on track is because it never actually said he could start race number 2. So something has happened, unfortunately, in the iRacing system, which has glitched out, and Hayden Veld was not able to join the grid, which is why he's not featured in this race.
Really unusual. I wonder if it was just a matter of timing, as we see a big move from Will Brown gets it done on Jamie Dyke. Dyke's going to be on the inside here. Look at him squirming though under power. These guys just cannot get the power down at this point in the race. The tyres are totally shot, so they can't get anywhere near as much to the ground as they need to try and stay alongside each other. And in the end, Jamie Dyke just needs to fall in behind. I wonder if it was just a case of being a quicker grid up for race number 2 than Veld was expecting, or if he is actually having issues with the iRacing interface. Look at this, James Scott in the background. Look at that, he's there. He's not far off the back. He's got it down to 4 seconds, which is in itself a massive achievement. But surely not going to be in touch with these two by the time we take the checkered flag in just a couple of laps' time. There's still a few positions to be decided, though. I think this one's not done and dusted yet. Matt Bowler and Brett Loxton really charging hard for that final step on the podium. In front of them, I have to think that Vandell's got it pretty well locked away now. He's been very, very consistent. So barring any major issues, I think Chastanov's going to have to settle for second. But then you've got a couple of these groups. Liam Jensen in 7th is probably thankful for the pressure that Palmer's coming under from Paul Young and Ryan Nielsen at this point at the back end of the 10. Of course, these guys will swap to the front of the grid for race number 3 if it finishes in this order. As Dean Power runs wide on the hairpin, allows Josh Harris through again. And then there's this group not too far back from them as well, led by Will Buchanan, Thomas Hinds, Will Brown, Jamie Dyke and Ben Morris, all still battling on for the minor placings here tonight. There's not as many points on offer per race, of course, when we get to these sprint rounds. Only 100 points for the winner in each of the 3 races, so you really do need consistent performance across all 3 if you're going to make anything of it for your championship hopes here. And I don't know that we've got we've got much in the way of consistency in terms of finishing spots across the first 2 races. It's been a real mixed bag for these drivers tonight.
No, absolutely. This has, I don't think we've had the same 3 finishes across the 2 races at all. Race 1 was Scott, Bowler and Young, so definitely different. If you get the white flag and we begin the final lap of the race now, going defensive as Thomas Hinds tried to actually get an undercut off the corner on Will Buchanan, I should say, wrong Will, too many Wills. Will Buchanan will have the inside as they run through 1, and Thomas Hinds trying to hold on to that position through 2. But again, this is the nature of this circuit as well.
That's cut off the back.
That is Paul Young, and Ryan Palmer is trying to redress. So something has happened between the 2 of them that tells me that Ryan Palmer has been a very naughty boy. And here we go. This is what's happened.
I don't think it's Palmer at all. Look at this, Young gives him a nudge from behind.
Yeah.
So it's not so much redressing as it is just trying to get going again. No, don't apologise to Ryan Palmer.
I just jumped to the conclusion that he's been a very naughty boy, which I think is a fine.
I would apologise. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think that's a reasonable starting position, honestly. This is going to get very interesting up front. Sebastian Vandell comes home. He's going to get the win here as they come around the corner to take the checkered flag. Vandell takes the win. Chastanov second. Loxton third. Matt Bowler not far behind at all. And there's James Scott, 2.9 seconds off the back. What a recovery. Just a massive drive. Now, we've got a whole lot going on in this group. And look at this, the final turn. We've got chaos. Thomas Hinds, Ryan Palmer, Will Buchanan all get caught up in it. And it looks like Will Brown might have been the cause of that. So he might be redressing there. And he is indeed. That was a massive mess. We're going to have to go back and take a look at that. Let's see what's happened here. So Will Brown comes up the inside. And nowhere to go for Thomas Hinds. Buchanan and Palmer find themselves spun around. And that's look, what do you do? What do you do, honestly? But Sebastian Vandell takes the win, and look at the front of the field, relatively tidy, all things considered. But we'll take another look at that one because Will Brown came absolutely storming through at the end here. Have a look at this from the overhead. Just couldn't get it pulled up. No grip left in the tyres. Palmer comes across. The door closes and Brown goes through. But Jamie Dyke, very, very happy to see the seas part a little bit for him. Yeah, that could have been very, very different indeed.
Yeah, absolutely could have been very different. That was a chaotic end to the race, and it just sums up the amount of racing we've had at Sonoma so far. But congratulations to Sebastian Vandell taking out that race win. James Chastanov some very much needed points in P2 as well.
Let's go through the results from the first 2 races now that we do have a moment before race number 3 comes around. So race 1. This is how it finished up. James Scott, Matt Bowler and Paul Young taking the top 3. Then Morris and Chastanov with Loxton and Veld, followed by Vandell and Snad. Ryan Palmer finishing in 10th ahead of Hinds, then Buchanan and Jensen, with Dean Power and Josh Harris in 14th and 15th. Ryan Nielsen, William Brown and Jamie Dyke, the last of the drivers to finish on the lead lap in race number 1. Then to race 2, after all of the chaos there, this is how it finished up. Vandel takes the win, 7/10 ahead of James Chasseneuve. Brett Loxton in 3rd, stays ahead of Matt Bowler, followed by James Scott and Dane Snadden. Then Liam Jensen comes in 7th. Ryan Nielsen ahead of Ben Morris. Then Jamie Dykes sneaks into 10th, so he'll be starting up the front here for race number 3. Thomas Hinds in 11th, Paul Young in 12th, Ryan Palmer and Josh Harris, the two ADHD drivers, somehow finish next to each other in amongst all of that, with Dean Powell and Will Buchanan coming in 15th and 16th. Will Brown finishes in 17th after redressing that last incident, with Scott Watts as the last driver on the lead lap for Brown Motorsports. David Coleman finishes 2 laps down. Simon Kaplan unfortunately not finishing that one, and we're not expecting to see him back again for race number 3 here this evening. So a real opportunity for Dean Power to pick up some points and really take it to Caplet for a very, very late AM Cup decider.
Yeah, it's look, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Simon Kaplan will not feature in the last race this evening. It's going to go down to the last 2 rounds. It's going to be very close on points, that is for sure. So looking forward to seeing, hopefully, Simon Kaplan bounce back next week, and we hope once again, he does feel better soon. But the championship is going to get pretty competitive at the top between those two, considering there was only 54 points between them coming into tonight's racing.
Well, we will have race 3 for you in just a moment. If you do need to get a drink refill, by all means, go for it, folks. We've got another couple of minutes before we get into race 3. And while we wait, a quick word from our major sponsors. We'll be right back.
Struggling to get your business online? At Domains2U, we make it easy with fast domain registration, powerful web hosting, and top-tier security solutions. Our hosting solutions ensure speed, security, and reliability with 99.9% uptime and daily backups. Find the perfect domain name and get online in minutes. Get started today at domains2u.com.au.
And as always, a massive thank you to Domains2U.com.au for their ongoing support of the MC Motorsport V8 series. This is it's always good to have them back on board, and it's been great to have them along for this one, as well as, of course, a number of other great sponsors of the MC Motorsport Leagues. iWrap Designs, got everything simulated, and of course Sixpence Coffee on board as well. It's been an interesting opening couple of races here, Isaac. We've got another minute or so to go before we'll see the grid for race number 3, but 20 more laps. I imagine there's a few drivers that have got just a little bit of red mist going on after the finish we saw in race number 2. It'll be interesting to see how that translates into a clean start or otherwise for race 3.
Yeah, absolutely. It is going to be really interesting to see what unfolds here. And what that grid is. I didn't quite catch the full extent of those results, but I do know Jamie Dyke is on the front row for the final race this evening, and James Scott, he'll be hoping he can get off to a better start than he did in race number 2, so he doesn't have to do all that work to come back through the field. But to do all that, to get back through to the top 5 is a pretty strong result, absolutely, from him. So looking forward to seeing what he can do in this final race. Sebastian Vandel is going to have a lot of work to do from 10th place on the grid, as is James Chasseneuve, considering Matt Bowler is going to be a couple spots ahead of him. So it's going to be some work for a few drivers in the field this evening in this final race, but that means there's going to be plenty of action because there's some cars that need to pass some other ones.
Yeah, absolutely there will be. And look, I think the interesting one, as we see a race control update just prior to gridding here, 196, that'll be, of course, Will Brown getting a 20-second time penalty for that late contact on the final lap of race number 2. And look, I can't say I'm massively surprised to see that come through either, despite the redress. It was look, it's one of those moves that if you'd pulled it off, you'd be cheering, but unfortunately, in the circumstances, didn't actually get there. Anyhow, the grid for race number 3 looks a little bit like this. Jamie Dyke and Ben Morris will be on the front row ahead of Ryan Nielsen and Liam Jensen. Then Dane Snadden and James Scott. So expect to see Scott move up through that top 5 pretty quickly, unless he has issues again at the start of this race. Matt Bowler and Brett Loxton on row 4. Then James Chasseneuve and Sebastian Vandel drop to the back of the top 10 after their win and second place, respectively, in race number 2. Further back through the grid, Thomas Hinds and Paul Young just outside of the 10. Ryan Palmer and Josh Harris will line up side by side, so hopefully the ADHD guys can play nice into those first couple of turns. Blackhawk Motorsport with Dean Powell on row number 8 with Will Buchanan, then Will Brown and Scott Watts ahead of David Coleman. Simon Caplet, look, will be set to start in 20th if he does make it back. We're not expecting to see him there. Hayden Veld, I'm hoping we get an opportunity for him to get into this race and grid up. And Sam Cullen, likewise, we haven't seen since his disconnection in race 1. So we'll have to wait and see who we actually got here, I think, Isaac, as we head on down to the grid to get ready and start race number 3 for tonight.
Yeah, it's look, I don't really quite know. Just looking on my thing, I don't see Hayden Veld yet, so there's potential that he may not be in the server for this final race this evening. I think we almost have all the drivers besides that, so we couldn't be not too far away from getting a race start.
And race control just checking into the YouTube chat saying that I'm to blame if we get a safety car in this race. Yeah, look, you know what? That's probably fair enough. It's probably fair enough. I've been willing it all night tonight, it seems, and nothing doing just yet. But
Please,
hey,
can we have one?
I remain confident that there is an opportunity for that, and if it's going to happen, it's going to be here in race 3. Tempers are high. The mist is very, very red, as are the lights, as we get ready to go racing here for race number 3. 20 more laps ahead. Bit of a slow start there for Dane Snadden. You can see already Will Buchanan starting to move up through the field as well. James Scott is side by side with Liam Jensen as they get up the hill for the first time. And look, we're still 2 and 3 wide on the way out. This is going to be perhaps a little bit spicy in these opening couple of turns. James Scott is going to pick up a spot here as he goes past Liam Jensen. Matt Bowler is going to try and follow through as well. And here we go through the downhill for the first time. I think we're going to get away with it relatively cleanly. In the background, everyone seems to have negotiated it well enough for now, but there's still a long way to go in this opening lap. And as I say that, Snadden and Young have fallen right off the back. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but we'll go back and take a look at it in just a moment. For Jamie Dyke, though, he's really opened up out in front. He's looking to put as much space as he possibly can between himself and James Scott in these opening laps before Scott gets a clear run at him. And it won't be long. Look at Scott dive to the inside there. He's coming back across now as Nielsen defends hard into the hairpin. Chastanov gets past Liam Jensen as well. And yeah, look, it's a relatively uneventful opening lap, all things considered, but it's pretty much what we expected from James Scott. He's right in amongst it and pushing hard. This is going to be the problem for him, though, isn't it? It's getting past these drivers who are reasonably quick and will be absolutely defending hard against him.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the time to get your elbows out. They know that James Scott is going to be quick, and they want to hold him up as long as they possibly can. This is Liam Jensen. He's in a sandwich between the two teammates of Brett Loxton and James Chastanoff at the moment. Sorry, Thomas Hinds. Up the inside goes James. No, that was just trying to look. Is that
Scott's trying to get through on Nielsen. He just can't quite get there at the moment.
Yep. I thought it was a car from the background, but I worked out it was just the grass spraying up in the air. But Ryan Palmer may change that very shortly with his elbows out on Will Buchanan. They're side by side down the hill. There's a little bit of contact. Ryan gets sideways. He's done well to catch that. I'll give him the old commentator's curse by saying that he was probably going to change that. He certainly almost did. He's kept it on the road, though he might lose a spot here. Speaking of losing a spot, James Chastanoff is putting pressure on James Scott. The battle of the James squared. And through turn 1 they go. Can he get a move up the inside now? Thinks about it, but not able to under braking on that occasion. Has to sit in behind Matthew Bowler, trying to put pressure on James Chastanoff as well. This has been a really good start for Chastanoff. He's in front of Bowler. He needs to obviously try and stay there, but if he can put a car between himself and Bowler, especially a car like James Scott, that is exactly what he needs to be gaining back some championship points here this evening.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt that he's got a teammate behind, although Matt Bowler's going to put the move up the inside of Chastanov here, so they're going to be side by side. Ryan Nielsen out in front is going to try and hold James Scott as best he can, but Chastanov has just lost a spot to Bowler, so this will be on Bowler to try and challenge James Scott now. With that pressure relieved, expect to see Scott make a very, very big move here into the hairpin, as we see a 5-second time penalty for Paul Young for the early incident. Look at this, Scott around the outside of Nielsen. He's going to go over and under again. And look, that's going to position him beautifully for when they get to the top of the hill here. They can be side by side the whole way up, but James Scott's going to be in the prime position here as they get to the top of the hill. Look at the pressure from Nielsen, though. He's absolutely leaning on him. Scott just keeping him right out at the track edge there, and Nielsen goes back under. He wants to have another crack at this. He won't be feeling like that he's been left perhaps. Maybe not quite enough room there on the way through from Scott, but you know, that is Gen 3 supercar racing.
Absolutely, and here goes Matt Bowler. He's going to try and follow him. James Chastanov will want a piece of this as well. Try and get the move done on his teammate. A little bit of squeezing once again from, lots of squeezing from Bowler. There's a little bit of contact side by side between Nielsen and Bowler. And James Scott has disappeared in the distance, 1.2 seconds up the road already. This is not what a few of them definitely would not have wanted. It's definitely not what Ben Morris or Jamie Dyke would have wanted to see this early in the race. They would have been hoping that these guys could hold him up just a little bit longer, and unfortunately he'll skip away. James Chastanov will want to get past his teammate as quick as possible, sides him up for a move into the hairpin, under braking, and he should get this done. Hopefully Nielsen won't put up too much of a fight. Yeah, here comes Brad Loxton. I was just looking at that in the bottom corner, the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and now in the middle, center of your screen, side by side they go through turn one. This is a mirror image almost for Nielsen to last time when he was like this with James Scott. Up the inside goes Loxton. There's a little bit of contact between the two of them. Once again, they're banging towards the elbows, are well and truly out here, folks, in the final race of the evening, and that is another spot lost from Ryan Nielsen. He has gone from 3rd to 7th in just over a lap.
Tell you what, it's pretty hairy out there at the moment. These guys are throwing some fairly aggressive contact. Look at the move from Will Buchanan behind, sent it from so far back there, and Varndell's actually going to pick up the scraps here, I think. Although a bit of argy-bargy side to side here. Liam Jensen in the background, probably keen to just have a word with Buchanan for that one as well. Will Buchanan is really throwing some aggressive moves here tonight. Jensen goes back through. Now, whether that's some sort of redress from Buchanan or not, I'm not entirely sure, but Varndell has made the most of that and just run away with it. Look at this group, though, as we get down towards the hairpin. Buchanan's up the inside of Jensen. David Coleman's going to try and go through with them, as is Will Brown behind him. Jensen's barely going to hold on to that for now. Coleman has to decide which line he's going to follow. Surely you jump in behind Will Buchanan here and try and follow him on the inside. But watch David Coleman just hang in behind Jensen here as they slot back into a single file line for just a moment. There's contact. Liam Jensen gets a big nudge from David Coleman, gets straightened back out again. Can Coleman save it? He can't. He ends up sliding around, just avoided by everyone else coming through. Geez, that was a very, very close moment. David Coleman now sitting off to the side of the track behind, so he'll have to get himself moving. Now Josh Harris and Ryan Palmer, the two ADHD cars, will battle it out through this hard right turn and out onto the apron they go. I do wonder whether Harris is going to let Palmer through here, if they're actually going to fight it out. I'm not sure. Palmer's had plenty of pace in the V8s throughout this season, but it's not like Harris to give it up just because Palmer could be quicker.
No, absolutely not. It is definitely not like, just give this one away. That was an interesting bit of racing between those two. And here you go. So James Scott is past Jamie Dyke. Now, a question for you, Jared Cole. You're James Scott. You're 4.5 seconds behind Jamie Dyke. How long until he catches Jamie Dyke?
I reckon. Well, look, Dyke's putting in some good laps, and in fact has been faster than James Scott so far. Jamie Dyke at 13.84, his best so far. Last time around a 14.8 to James Scott's 14.34. I reckon the best that James Scott can probably manage here is about a half second a lap, in which case we're probably talking about 9 or 10 laps before he gets to Jamie Dyke. Now that depends on a whole bunch of factors, of course, but Yeah, I think we're going to see probably somewhere around lap 15, if not a little bit sooner, that Scott will actually catch up to Jamie Dyke here. But, you know, we'll wait and see what happens. We'll go back to lap 1 and just take a look at what happened to Paul Young. The RF Designs replay. Young up the inside of Snadden, makes contact, gets him spun, and then ends up spinning himself there. And yeah, look, not a great deal in it, but enough to attract a 5-second penalty for the impact on Dane Snadden.
Yeah, it's interesting. We got a black flag for Coleman.
I think that might be might potentially be an incident limit issue.
Very well could be. We are on race 3 of the evening, so that very well could be an incident limit. I haven't seen anything come through from race control. I'm just trying to look if there is anything, and I can't see anything on my screen that indicates there'd be an issue with race control. This is David Coleman, and something here. He's cut the corner.
I wonder if there's just a bit too much damage there, perhaps. Although the car looks to be in okay shape. Yeah, I suspect that we're probably not going to see David Coleman back in this race tonight, though. Would be my guess.
No, disappointing. But unfortunately, it's yeah, we won't see, may not see David Coleman back tonight, which is super unfortunate. But Jamie Dyke, it's now 4 seconds on the nose. So James Scott has taken half a second out of him. It was about a tenth quicker on that previous lap, so he is pushing at the moment to try and catch. This is Ryan Palmer trying to find a way past Liam Jensen. Once again, these two have found their way to each other on the circuit, laid up the inside. Ryan Palmer, he's going to slide the car through the hairpin. He had to go very narrow there to try and make the corner. And once again, Koala Cartel ADHD Warfare resumes business as per usual. Ryan Palmer and Liam Jensen have found their way to each other in each and every one of the 3 races so far this evening, and it is business as per usual. Ryan Nielsen finds himself under pressure from Thomas Hinds.
It's a great effort from Palmer to actually keep the car out of the side of Jensen's there. He had it very, very sideways, just asked too much of the rears up and over the curb, but did a great job to avoid any contact that we could see at least. Maybe the slightest of nudges, but certainly nothing worth Liam Jensen getting too concerned about. And all he's done is cost himself a bunch of time. Palmer now sits, well, 1.2 back from Jensen, and he'll be dealing with Dean Power for the next little while, I suspect. Up front, Ben Morris has really just been watching this happen in the rear view. Matt Bowler's been getting closer and closer every single lap, and now finds himself only a few tenths off the back. I can't imagine it'll be too long before we see Bowler consider a move, and probably into the hairpin would be my guess. As we keep our eye on that gap, James Scott now 3.6 to Jamie Dyke. So he's staying pretty well on track for about a half second out of Dyke each lap. Yeah,
it's we go across the curb there for Bowler with lots of curb usage, and yeah, he is closing in, which is about the rate that we thought he might, about half a second each lap. So wonderful data work from yourself there, Jared Cole. I'm sure the teams will be trying to sign you up to do their
best guesstimate.
Get you signed up to do their strategy data and how long before this driver catches, because you're actually you've nailed it in that he is catching him about half a second lap. You can see that gap sort of physically represented in front of you. In terms of where they are on the hairpin. Up the inside now, Matthew Bowler very deep under brakes, and Ben Morris had to check up to avoid major contact there. I think there was a little bit of contact, but means that Morris is going to come back and be maybe ahead here, but Bowler's going to force the issue side by side through one, and Ben Morris is not going to fight that one too hard. Bowler will move up into 3rd spot.
Yeah, look, I kind of expected Bowler would try and make the move there. I didn't expect it to be quite that ambitious when they did get to the hairpin, but he knows that every second that he's held up behind Ben Morris there, it just gives Scott more and more of an opportunity to get away into the distance. So Bowler will be trying now to reel Scott back in as best he can. Meanwhile, Morris straight out of the front pen into the fire. James Chastanoff on his tail and looking for a pass.
certainly is. He's trying to find a way past now. And look, I think James Chastain needs to stay as close to Matt Bowler as possible here in this one to do what he can to give himself the opportunity to maximise his points and not lose too many across the course of the evening to Matt Bowler. And again, David Coleman yet to emerge from the pit lane, so I think you called that one well, and that he's not going to unfortunately come back out this evening. And up the inside, as this is Hins and Nielsen still going away for this battle of 7th spot. Hins can't quite find a way past Nielsen just yet. Nielsen making that car very, very wide across the line. What was the lap times look like on the previous lap? About half a second again between Jamie Dyke and James Scott. It's now 2.7 seconds. Up the inside goes Thomas Hins through 2, and they run up to 3 and 3A. Can they get this sorted out before they get there, or is it going to be side by side? It's going to continue to be side by side. They haven't sorted this one out yet. Here's Sebastian Varndell in the background, would like a piece of the action as well. There's a little bit of touching between the two of them. Nielsen trying to get his elbows out, and Hins is going to force the issue. Hold on, and now Nielsen's going to lose 2 spots here. Varndell fancies a look around the outside of Hins. It's all going on now through the back end of the circuit. Varndell's gone through on both of them. Nielsen wants to get back up the inside of Hins here. Hins will feel like he can't really catch a break now. Everyone's coming back at him. Here's Will Buchanan as well to join the party, if you don't mind. So we've gone from being a 2-car battle to being a 4-car battle. A little bit of a rough touch between Nielsen and Buchanan as they come down towards the turn 11 hairpin. Heavy under brakes. Will Buchanan get up the inside? Will get up the inside. Will not get up the inside. He's still there, but Nielsen, unfortunately for Buchanan, will continue to draw alongside, and I don't think that's as quite straightforward as Buchanan thought it would be as they run into 2. This is still going on. This has been about 3 corners now. They've been side by side. This is brilliant racing between the two of them to afford each other the room. We cut to the shot at turn 3 and 3A. Here is Will Brown. So there's another Will to add to the mix. And I think this is getting too confusing, ladies and gentlemen. And this needs to be sorted out. So they're still side by side. This is half a lap now. These guys have been side by side without either one yielding. They're going to continue as we get to 7. And now finally, Buchanan pulls ahead, but here comes Nielsen back up the inside, so he's changed his line. He backed off a little bit. That was a beautiful move, and I think it's finally resolved in the favour of Ryan Nielsen, but I think they were side by side for at least half. It's a temporary
state of affairs though, Isaac, because Buchanan's about to throw a massive move here at the hairpin, I guarantee it. It's so obvious that he needs to at this point to regain that spot. You can see immediately Nielsen moves across to defend that move. Buchanan late on the brakes. Look out for Will Brown behind as well. And Paul Young all of a sudden has caught up to this group as well. So 3 seconds from this group up to Thomas Hins, who just a moment ago was right in there with them. They have been battling hard, but it's cost them so much time, and they're side by side again. So Nielsen and Buchanan going at it again. Nielsen has the inside run up into 2 here. He's going to just hold alongside again. They've got to figure this out. They're just costing themselves so much time. But of course, neither driver is going to be the one who blinks here. And we're going to be side by side again over the crest. And a big nudge there from Will Brown in the background. Look at the save from Ryan Nielsen. Just keeps it on the straight and narrow. And Will Brown will probably just back off it a little bit to give him a moment to settle back in before they pick up where they left off. No, he's given him no time at all. Straight into the side. Nielsen and Brown go very wide there. That's an opportunity for Paul Young. And now all of a sudden they're going to be almost 3 wide as they get through these S's. The only one that's won anything out of this is Will Buchanan.
Yeah, Will Buchanan will absolutely get the spot run. Nielsen's going to continue to go backwards and drop outside the top 10. He's trying to force the issue with Will Brown. And William Brown, I should say William Brown, that is what he's listed as, not Will Brown, but I'm sure he doesn't mind Will Brown. And he's going to go around the outside of Paul Young here. So these guys, not 3 wide. And there we go. He's tagged Paul Young on the exit. He tried to force the issue, get up the inside and make it 3 wide, and that was always going to end in tears for somebody. Nielsen is waiting to redress that, but Paul Young's got to get the car turned around first.
Yeah, look, this is the thing, right? Everyone's throwing so much into that hairpin to try and find some way to get through there. and it's always going to end in tears. It's just a question of when. Sometimes it's the first time around, other times it's about the 4th or 5th lap of side-by-side action, and that's what we saw there. Amazing racing up until then, and unfortunately just the nature of those close-in battles. As we look ahead now, the battle for third, a little bit more spread out at the moment. Matt Bowler hanging on to it, but Ben Morris is there. Chastano and Brent Loxton, both still relatively in touch. James Scott now at 1 second back from Jamie Dyke, so we are pretty much bang on the lap 17 number that I kind of had in mind for where Scott's likely to catch Dyke. The question is, can Jamie Dyke hold him off for just those last few laps and take a win here? It's going to be a hell of an effort.
Yeah, this is going to be a big effort from Jamie Dyke to hold on for the win. James Scott will throw everything at it, looking at the lap times. He's still quicker. Jamie Dyke, though, does hold the fastest lap of the race, so maybe James Scott not able to push as much as he would like throughout. This is still going on. Brian Palmer and Liam Jensen once again battling away on track together for 13th and 14th spot. Josh Harris about 2 seconds up the road from this, and then Dean Powell about 1.5 seconds behind. The only AM Cup driver still remaining in the field this evening. We'll get some valuable points for his championship charge with only 2 rounds remaining following tonight's action, Adelaide and Long Beach. And I'm really looking forward to both those rounds. Hopefully we get a few more drivers as well, which will make it more exciting, especially for Adelaide next week. We'd love to see 30 plus supercars rolling around that track. It's just an absolutely brilliant track, and these cars love it there, and the racing is always good. But this is the gap between your race leaders, Jamie Dyke, James Scott, who is going to come out on top here. 3 or 4 laps to go, including this one, and James Scott, you can see the difference under braking, just the closing speed that he has on Jamie Dyke. I feel like it will be only a matter of time before he is past Dyke for the lead of this race.
Yeah, look, I'm really hoping that Jamie Dyke has been conserving the tyres a little bit over these laps. He's very, that's the thing, you never discount how good Jamie Dyke is at just conserving and driving to a number. Often it's fuel, but just as often it's tyres that he's actually looking after. But he's going to need every bit of it now to try and hold James Scott where he is. So expect to see Dyke start to play very, very defensively now that Scott's actually on his tail. There's not going to be much in this, and it's not going to be very, very long, I'm sure, before we see the first move from Scott. Dyke goes across straight across the middle of the track. That's a good move. Not going hyper defensive, not straight to the inside. He needs to leave himself enough of an apex there that he can actually get some speed on the way out, because otherwise Scott's going to monster him up this straight. And now what Dyke needs to be thinking about is where he positions this car on the way up the hill. He wants to stay on the right-hand side of the track, to stay on the inside of this turn at the top. Just a little tap of the brakes to settle the car into the suspension. James Scott, I don't think he's going to make he's not going to just throw any old move here. He's going to really wait for some kind of mistake, or just for even a little blink from Jamie Dyke. Look at him slide up and over that crest, pushing absolutely everything out of these tyres now, and asking an awful lot of them as well. I really hope Jamie Dyke can hold on to this one. It's going to be a massive battle for the next couple of laps.
It certainly is. He's doing everything he can to defend from James Scott as they run down the hill. Here's the shot from the rear wing of the MC Motorsports car. I think this has been a nice run down the hill for James Scott. He's going to be closer on this occasion. He could look for a move up the inside into the hairpin. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. James Scott right up on the back of him. He's going to have to go defensive here. Jamie Dyke, and around the outside will go James Scott. Under brakes. There's side by side, a little bit of a touch between the two of them mid-corner, and Jamie Dyke gets the better drive off the corner in the first phase, but I think the second phase is going to belong to James Scott. They go side by side across the start-finish line into turn 1 now. Who is going to come out on top here? Jamie Dyke, if he can stay there, will have the inside line for 1. He's squeezing him as much as he can. He's locked up. He's gone off the road. And unfortunately, locked to brake for Jamie Dyke. He might feel a little bit hard done by there from James Scott. That was very hard racing between the two of them, and Jamie Dyke, in an effort to hold onto that position, outbraked himself into 2 and locked the inside front, and James Scott will have the lead of this race.
Honestly, for anyone to hold Scott at bay for that length of time and so close behind, that's a massive effort from Jamie Dyke, and so close. so close to him. If he'd managed to be even 1 second further ahead, that would have, early on in the race that is, that would have been enough of a gap that he probably would have been able to hold James Scott all the way to the end. As it is, we're going to get the white flag this time around, and geez, so close for Jamie Dyke. He should hold on to P2 here, but what a massive effort and a huge drive from James Scott, up 5 positions. Not surprised given the pace that he's had all night, but Jamie Dyke gave it absolutely everything there, and certainly very, very deserving of the podium spot here as we get on to the final lap. James Scott just has to hold on out in front here as Dyke comes through the start-finish line. With a 2-second gap to Matt Bowler, he's just got to keep this thing straight for a few more corners and he should be good to go.
Yep, he's holding on, and this will be a key podium for Matt Bowler tonight in his championship charge. James Chestnut has tried to get past Ben Morris, but despite his best efforts, Ben Morris has driven absolutely beautiful for Phase 4 Motorsport and held on to that position. Sebastian Rundell into 7th place in the end as well, with about 6 odd seconds behind this little group with Brett Loxton as well. This is Ryan Palmer and Liam Jensen still battling away. 13th spot on the road. I think the technical term is sheep stations, but between Koala Cartel and ADHD, this will mean everything for the two of them. And the only Koala Cartel car out there this evening, and one of 2 ADHD cars out there tonight, Ryan Palmer. But James Scott, I think he has pretty much all but got this one sewn up.
Yeah, to take something pretty spectacular for him to give it away from here as he comes around the corner to take the checkered flag, crosses the line. There's the win for James Scott. Jamie Dyke gives it a big old slide across the finish line. He'll be very, very happy, and I'm sure we'll hear that when we chat to him in just a moment. Matt Bowler comes home in 3rd ahead of Morris, Chastanov and Loxton in that order. Still got this battle going on though, so we'll make sure we keep an eye on this all the way to the end, because this is the last opportunity for Ryan Palmer to try and get past Liam Jensen. I don't think he's quite going to get there, but it'll be a drag race to the line. Couldn't quite get enough through that hairpin, and so Palmer sends it across the line. A big slide from him as well, as Dean Powell just rolls on through in 15th. Paul Young will come home in 16th with Ryan Nielsen behind him, and Scott Watts, the last driver on track, will come home in 18th spot. David Coleman, unfortunately, unable to rejoin, so he will finish in 19th, but if I'm still remembering our rule book correctly, won't pick up any points for this race, having not seen the checkered flag. So Scott Watts will be the last across the line, but what a massive drive it was for James Scott tonight. Jamie Dyke threw absolutely everything he could at it. In the end, just not quite enough time, or rather just a little bit too much time, I think, left in the race tonight for Dyke to hold on to that one. As we take a look at the race results for race number 3 before we have a chat to a few of the drivers. James Scott takes the win ahead of Jamie Dyke, and then Matt Bowler in 3rd. Morris, Chastanov and Loxton behind them, with Varndell and Hinds, Ben Buchanan and William Brown rounding out your top 10, with Dane Snowden, Josh Harris, Liam Jensen and Ryan Palmer just outside it. Dean Powell comes home in 15th and picks up some good points to take it to Simon Caplet in the AM Cup comp. Paul Young and Ryan Nielsen finishing 16th and 17th, and Scott Watts in 18th, the last driver to see the checkered flag there. And look, a pretty eventful little 3rd race there, I reckon, Isaac.
Yeah, absolutely. Very eventful indeed. All 3 races this evening have been pretty eventful, I would say. And Sonoma gets a big tick in my book for racing tonight, because it has been pretty action-packed, and I'm actually very impressed by the racing that we did get this evening. So hopefully this is a circuit we will return to in future seasons, because I actually quite would like to hear, and also if there are any drivers watching this evening that don't have the track, so that's why they didn't race this evening, hopefully this encourages them to go out and buy the track, because it does look like a lot of fun.
Well, let's have a chat to a few of the drivers from this evening. 3rd place in race number 3 there. We're joined now in the booth by none other than Matt Bowler. G'day, Matt. Welcome on in.
Thanks, boys.
Well, look, I'll ask you first and foremost, Sonoma, much experience here before tonight, or is this one of the first races you've had here?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's the first race I've ever had here. yeah, honestly didn't really remember that the race was tonight. So spent the last 20 minutes of practice in the server to build a setup and get going. So seemed to have okay pace, nothing compared to sort of what James had. But yeah, overall some pretty decent results, all things considered.
And it looked like it was pretty tough going out there. A pretty eventful final race for sure, but across all three races, pretty hotly contested throughout. How did you find the racing?
Yeah, it was pretty competitive. A lot of drivers were very close in terms of time, so they were all bunched up for quite a bit. There might have been a bit of team games happening in the third race, with some good battling, and luckily no one went around from it. But yeah, hopefully I can make one of his TikToks.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. Well, look, congrats on the results here this evening. It's certainly going to sit well with your battle with Hayden Veld in the championship standings, and of course with Hayden not picking up much in the way of points from this evening, it's certainly going to help you out as we get towards the end of the season. Before we let you go, anyone you want to say hello to, or any sponsors to give a shout out to, mate?
Yeah, I'll just obviously thank you guys for all the commentary and the broadcast. You guys do a mega effort, so yeah, really good to go back and watch that, obviously. Just give a shout out to all the guys at Eclipse and our main sponsor Core-Temp for all their support. Who else can I thank? I'll thank Hayden. I've sort of lost him tonight. I have no idea where he went, to be honest. I didn't see him on the grid in the second race, and never saw him again, really, so that was a bit devastating. I don't really know what happened there, but yeah, I didn't take him out, so that's a positive. I'm sure that's the positive takeaway for tonight. But yeah, just a shout out to James as well. Had awesome pace and very deserving of the round win.
All right, well, thank you so much as always for dropping in to have a chat to us, Matt, and fingers crossed you can stay on the charge for the rest of the season.
Yeah, cheers boys, that's the plan.
Matt Bowler takes out third place in race 3 as we go to second place, and we are joined in the booth by Mr. Jamie Dyke. G'day, Dykey. How are you, mate?
Pretty good, Jared. Isaac, how are we?
Well, look, we're probably sweating a fair bit less than you. I'll be honest. We were counting down for about 10 laps there, trying to figure out exactly when James is going to catch you and just how long you'd have to try and hold him off. In the end, made a massive effort, but geez, it was a close thing. If you'd gotten just an extra second or two further away from the rest of the pack early on, you might have actually not had to battle him at all. But that's the way it goes sometimes in racing, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think early on I did fairly well. I probably with 5 or 6 to go, lap 17, I ran wide at the corner before the hairpin and I lost a bunch of time. So I probably could have held off battling him until the penultimate or the last lap if I didn't do that. And then when we did battle, I didn't practice going side by side through turn 1 and 2, and that was my mistake.
Well, mate, it's a tough track at the best of times, and then going side by side with someone like James Scott, I'll tell you what, it puts pressure on more than just about anything else I can imagine. So to hold him off for as long as you did, I think a massive effort, mate. Very, very well done. Look, obviously a pretty close points battle for you at the moment in the championship standings tonight. Certainly going to help that. A couple rounds to go. What are you looking forward to most, Adelaide or Long Beach?
Adelaide. Easy Adelaide. Long Beach, I don't do too bad, but I imagine like James and Bowler and Veld and Chasty are probably going to have it up on me. But Adelaide, I'll back myself.
Well, mate, we'll keep a very, very close eye out for you during that one, as we always do. Tonight, massive effort. Great result for you. Before we let you go, anyone you want to say hello to, mate?
Obviously, our sponsors, West End Motor Group, Affinity Designs, Precision Sim Training, DC Shades, and Battery Warehouse, Early Beach. I'll give a shout out to Coleman for showing up because he's a very busy boy. And Benny, Chasty, and Paul Young, and all those boys for the help learning the track.
Mate, well done. Congrats on the results. We'll let you go and get a drink, hey?
Cheers, boys.
Jamie Dyke there takes out P2, just barely pipped in the last couple of laps there by our eventual race winner, James Scott, who joins us in the booth now. G'day, James. Welcome on in, mate.
G'day, fellas.
Well, so you certainly put the foot down, and we were counting it down for about 10 laps there, just waiting for that battle with Jamie at the end. But it certainly wasn't an easy progression for you tonight, was it? A lot of drivers making it pretty difficult for you to get through.
Yeah, second race, didn't go to plan. Got pretty well smacked up the back, and that put me down to the back. So that made race 2 pretty difficult. And then, race 3 was, I think there was some team games or something going on out there. There was some pretty hard defending by a few guys. But yeah, there was some good hard racing. Hopefully I can become famous during the week with a few TikToks or something. But it was some good racing.
Interestingly, you're the second person tonight in the booth to mention getting into a few TikTok videos. So you never know, right? You never know. But mate, it's always a pleasure to watch. Some seriously quick drivers make their way through from further back in the field. And you gave us a couple of opportunities to check that out tonight. And how confident were you at about the halfway mark in race 3 that you were going to reel Jamie in out in front, though?
It's funny. I was actually just talking to Jamie about it before when you were speaking to Matt. Well, I actually wasn't really sure. Like, I was getting held up, and then I didn't really actually know what speed I sort of had until, I don't know what it was, like lap 8 or something like that. And it's sort of, I don't know, it's like a dangling carrot in front of you or something. You can go absolutely flat out and probably have the tyres blow off in 5 laps. So I just tried to look after them while still obviously pushing, but didn't want to use them all up. So, I sort of get there and got nothing left. So, probably didn't plan for it to get that tight. To be honest, I didn't even know it was the second last lap. So, the car was really good. It's we've gone a different way with the setup. Thanks to Bowler for tuning up the Adrian Newey Hyperdoc, but it was really good.
Well, mate, you may not have realised, but we were loving the action here tonight, and just keeping an eye on it all unfolding in front of us. There's some awesome racing once again. Before we let you go, mate, anyone you want to say hello to or any sponsors to shout out?
All the guys at the Chiefs. Logitech G, Aussie Broadband, Westfield. Great to have those guys on the car again for another year. Team's working really well. So, happy with where we're at. And, hopefully you can chalk up a few more race wins before the season's out.
Well, two more races to go, mate. Adelaide and Long Beach, a good couple of street circuits, and I'm sure we'll see you out there and mixing it up with everyone once again. Thanks so much for dropping in to chat to us, and congrats on the results tonight, mate.
Thanks, fellas.
James Scott takes the win in race number 3 after what was a pretty intense couple of races here tonight, Isaac. But all in all, a real mixed bag of results right throughout. And if we take a look at the forecast points out of tonight's race, there's not a lot of change at the top end in terms of positions, but the big one for me, I think, is Hayden Veld not seeing race 2 and race 3 tonight, potentially, and we'll have to wait for the drop rounds to get calculated for next week, but potentially that battle for the third step of the championship podium just got really, really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. Look, I am very much looking forward to what's going to happen for the next 2 weeks. We have 2 rounds left, and looking at these points, it is close. Even all the way down to Will Buchanan, it's still not too far. He's still not too far away from that likes of Hayden Veld. So what happens with P3 in the points now? Who knows? Can Matt Bowler catch James Chassenhoff before the season is over? These are questions that we have 2 more rounds to answer, and Adelaide next week is certainly going to throw some spanners in the works.
It absolutely will, but geez, can you think of many better tracks to be coming to the close of a season with? I think the only way the end of this season could have been more perfectly supercars would have been Adelaide and Bathurst. But you know what? Long Beach will take, because that long straight, and not to mention that final hairpin, That's going to be a really, really wild season closer, I reckon. But we've still got to make it through Adelaide next week before we get to that. So if you're a fan of street circuits, this is absolutely the place to be on a Monday night. Isaac, any last thoughts from you before we wrap it all up here?
Look, I think tonight's action was quite enjoyable. There was a lot of people getting elbows out, and this circuit, I think, really suited cars. So hopefully we come back here very soon. Hopefully other leagues that are watching realise they should come or look to come back here and race here as well and add it to their calendar, because it's certainly a really exciting track. And Adelaide next week, as we said, is going to provide another unique challenge for these drivers, and these last 2 rounds are going to get really spicy. So make sure you guys set your reminders, subscribe to the Simple Racing broadcasting channel. Just turn the notification bell on, as I think that's what they say, isn't it? Turn the notifications on so that you never miss a broadcast, because it's going to be an exciting conclusion to this season, that's for sure.
It absolutely will. And don't forget, tomorrow night, the final round of Alliance Sim Racing's V8 series comes to you right here on Simple as well. We've got a lot of end of season action coming up over the next few weeks. Don't miss any of it at all. A massive thank you, as always, to Domains2U for their sponsorship of the MCV8 series, and of course to Sixpence Coffee, iRap Designs, and Everything Simulated for their sponsorship of the MC Motorsport Leagues. My name's Joe Cole. On behalf of Isaac Fogarty, it's been great to have you along with us tonight. Do come back again tomorrow night for some more V8 action, or indeed Wednesday night when we see the GT3s hit the track once more. You get all the best racing action right here on Simple. Until next time, though, it is goodbye for now.